We finally got our hands on the Pixel 3 and Pixel 3a XL, the Pixel devices that are aimed not at you or me, the tech enthusiast, but those looking for a much more affordable device that covers all of the bases and does that well. This is the everyman Android that we're sure many didn't realise they were actually looking for. For a starting price of $400, the Pixel 3a and 3a XL are naturally made of much cheaper materials. Polycarbonate dominates, but that isn't to the detriment of either handset. They look from a distance almost identical to the standard Pixel 3, right down to the faux frosted plastic, which feels almost the same in the hand. Being plastic, they are a little lighter in the hand, but it should result in better device durability over time. A polycarbonate body should withstand a beating much more than the often recited premium glass or metal builds, that's for sure. That said, you'll likely want a case or skin to stop any major dings, scrapes and scuffs, which leads us to today's video sponsor. Dbrand offers an array of premium skins for all kinds of phones and devices, and pre-orders are already open for the Google Pixel 3a and Pixel 3a XL. Customize your own skin in an array of colours and finishes, from the classic carbon fibre, concrete, marble and even the newer honeycomb textured swarm design. Every skin is a piece of cake to apply, won't break the bank, and gives that plastic back added scratch and scuff protection without requiring a bulky case whilst adding that extra grip. Head to the link in the description to get hands-on with a skin for your device, and thanks to Dbrand again for sponsoring all of our Google I/O 2019 coverage. Back to the device, and I prefer the slightly more rounded edges over those found on the Pixel 3, which in itself is a very comfortable handset. These more rounded plastic edges sit well in the hand and make for exceptional everyday comfort. I can honestly say that I do actually quite like a plastic handset. It doesn't feel in any way cheap, but it does feel noticeably cheaper. I've really enjoyed the haptics on the Pixel 3a, which although not quite up to the standard of the standard original Pixel 3, are still miles ahead of even most premium Android phones already on the market. The design parity with the standard Pixel 3, except for the raw materials used, will be highly beneficial for awareness of the Pixel line, no doubt. You get no real sense outwardly that this is a light version of the Pixel, although the display does hint at it. The displays on both devices are Full HD+ rather than QHD+. They don't get quite as bright as the standard Pixel 3 either, but the quality of the OLED is really not in question. If you do get close up, you can see that the quality doesn't quite stack up against the QHD+ display found in the Pixel 3 and 3 XL, but overall the 3a has a solid display that is clear, bright and makes content look pretty darn good. On the 3a XL, it's kind of odd to see a device with a 6-inch display with such sizable bezels. That isn't a bad thing in many regards, as the lack of notch is almost refreshing, especially so when you consider that both handsets have that now standard 18.5:9 aspect ratio. It's also pretty clear that Google took the Pixel 3a design and simply made it larger for the XL model, and that by no means is a bad thing. Even with the bigger bezels, there is no room for the ultra-wide angle selfie camera. Instead, there is a solitary 8-megapixel sensor packed in there, but more on that slightly later on. Round back, you wouldn't actually know if this was a Pixel 3a until you picked it up. Google has done a superb job with what most would consider cheaper materials to make this look and feel like a more expensive counterpart. The design is most definitely a standout for me, as it looks and feels exactly like a Pixel, because this is a Pixel, except without the price tag we've become accustomed to. That extends to the software experience, as even with the mid-range Snapdragon 670 chipset as opposed to the Snapdragon 845, I can't say I've seen anything that leads me to believe that day to day I would miss having the slightly more powerful chipset, apart from saving a few seconds here and there on certain apps loading. I'm not entirely surprised by the performance of the Snapdragon 670 and 4GB of RAM, as it does benchmark on par with the Pixel 2's Snapdragon 835 chipset. The only real noticeable difference in performance between the Pixel 3a and the Pixel 3 is that images take a little longer to process due to the lack of Pixel Visual Core, but that hasn't been a frustration in my usage at all. That point leads me directly to the camera, and this is now where the Pixel 3a and 3a XL really start to flex their muscles over the entire sub $500 Android smartphone market. The Pixel 3a has the exact same camera system as the exceptional Pixel 3 and is still backed by Google's exceptional and industry-leading AI image post-processing. Stills are simply superb, the portrait mode exceptional, and the rest of the experience is genuinely top tier. You just don't see a camera experience as good as this on such an affordable device. Night sight is also present on these devices too, but the processing does take a little bit longer without the Visual Core chip. You won't wait a long time for processing to complete, but there is a noticeable wait time. The photo results themselves are impressive and represent yet another area that the similarly priced devices simply can't compete. Round the front again, the slightly wider than average 8MP sensor produces clean selfies, and although smooths images a little, is still a good selfie camera all things considered. Video too is very good, and one area that really isn't spoken about enough on Pixel devices generally. I am guilty of this myself, as I'm more likely to grab my main camera than a smartphone. But that said, the maximum resolution 4K 30fps is smooth and clean, and at 1080p too, the stabilisation is really underrated in all honesty. Let's quickly talk a little bit about battery life, as the Pixel 3a has a slightly smaller 3000 mAh battery, which will just about eke out a day of usage before needing a charge. Conversely, the Pixel 3a XL manages quite a portion more with its 3700 mAh cell. In terms of screen on time, which is a metric I don't like, I have seen the low 4-hour mark on the Pixel 3a on average, while the Pixel 3a XL can maintain a solid 5 hours with a tiny percentage left at the end of the day. Luckily, Google does bundle in the 18W fast charger in the box, so you can boost your battery back up in no time, which is very, very welcome. While the in-box fast charger is great, I do have to disappoint for a second, as even though the 3a handsets are majority polycarbonate, there is actually no wireless fast charging. It's sad, but hopefully we may see it on next year's Pixel mid-ranger. So taking all of that information into account, the Pixel 3a is most definitely not the phone for enthusiasts or hardcore tech fans, but more of an Android for everyone else. Think of your parents, tech-fearing friends, or those just looking for an exceptional camera, solid software updates, and an experience that gets close to the flagship Pixel line without breaking the bank. At a starting price of $400, and in some cases cheaper with rebates and trade-ins, this might be the Pixel most people didn't know they'd been waiting for. To learn more about these phones, head over to 95google.com and then subscribe to the channel to see more content just like this. Finally, I want to say cheers for watching, but until next time, I will speak to you later.